Instructional video on how to change your seals on a 95 Chevy K3500 with a 7.4 or 454 Gen 5 big block. So I've actually got the assembly out here. Right here's where you screw your oil filter onto, and this sits at a 90-degree angle on the engine. You can see that on here already I've put the new O-ring in, and actually right here is my old O-ring. You can see that there's a huge chunk taken out of it. It's very flat and brittle. So I went ahead and cleaned this all up. It was a real bitch to get out from underneath the engine. Not to mention it's a beautiful 10-degree day here in North Dakota. So I'll take you underneath the vehicle here and get you to have a look at this, but it was kind of a bitch to figure out. There's not a lot of nothing really in the manual on this, but you can see up in there is where it attaches. And one of the things that's not real clear in any of the manuals on this particular model anyway is what your fasteners are on this. You can see that this right here, this is actually how it sits up there. And you can see that I've opened up these holes here. When you initially see it up there, there are two little square-shaped, almost look like plugs that go in there, and they are not the same size as a 3/8 ratchet extension. It's actually smaller than that, and it's larger than a 1/4 inch. So what I did was I took my bench grinder and ground down a extension here, a 3/8 extension. I went real slow and tried it a couple of different times and finally got it to the right size so that it fit these plugs. And underneath the plugs we had torque fasteners, 2 torque fasteners. And actually I've got it right here. I'll even let you know what number they were. It was a T30 Torx bit. So if you don't have one of those, you're going to want one of those before you start a project like this. But like I say, I filed, and I'm not so sure that there isn't a tool for the plugs there, or whatever you want to call them. I'm sure Craftsman or somebody has a set that you can buy, but I'm quite a ways out of town here, so I didn't feel like driving into town and spending another day with this on the blink. So getting ready to put this back on, and I had quite a substantial oil leak. I mean, it was just gushing out of there. You can see that on this. You probably can't. Well, yeah, you actually can. Right up here are the 2 oil cooler lines. This is the difference between a 5th gen and a 6th gen. On a 6th gen, those oil cooler lines are actually part of the oil filter adapter. But as you can see on this one, on this particular 5th gen, they are on the oil pan rail there. And I think my lines actually leak. I'm not sure. They actually leak at the front of the vehicle. I was thinking about actually deleting that, but there's a lot of controversy online about whether or not you can just pull those lines out and plug them or not. So kind of waiting on that. I'll see if this fixes my leak or what other kind of leaks I have after this is done. But this definitely was the big leak. So just bought this vehicle about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I'll post another video if I figure out what's going on with those oil cooler lines. But anyway, figured I'd throw this online because there really isn't anything in the manual, and nobody seemed to know. So there you go.